Welcome to the PTZOptics podcast. Today we have our lead engineer, Matthew Davis, who just helped us do a huge announcement that we're super excited about.
Welcome to the post-show podcast with your hosts, Paul Richards, Tess Protesto, and Michael Luttermoser. Let's talk shop.
All right. Welcome, Matthew Davis, to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Matthew Davis, lead engineer at PTZOptics and a few other companies. But today is all about PTZOptics.
Today is all about PTZOptics.
So, Matt, you briefly mentioned that you forgot a few things to mention that are brand new.
So I don't know if it's live on the site yet, but you can definitely contact support for this. We do have an update for the PT Joy G3. Yay! So this was a feature that a lot of you requested. With the update, you'll be able to push and hold the escape button and lock out the joystick. So no more people bumping it. You can call some presets. Makes it very simple. You push and hold the escape button again, and you've got control back.
Tess just loves the ooh button. I don't know why.
And then a few of you old school operators out there asked for inversion. We have added that to this firmware update as well.
Wow. So that's the good old PTZOptics IP joystick. I had someone ask me yesterday, does that joystick support NDI? I was like, no, but it supports all of our cameras that are NDI.
Exactly.
So, that's a great product. But the big news for today, for those of you listening on the podcast, is something called broadcast frame rates. And I just realized, Matt, the other thing we forgot to do is what are these broadcast frame rates? Where did they come from?
Yeah. Okay. So broadcast frame rates, they're fractional frame rates. Currently or previously, our cameras only output full frames, 30 frames a second, 60 frames a second, 120 frames a second. Typical broadcast equipment, on the other hand, utilizes broadcast frame rates, or these fractional frame rates of 59.94 or 29.97. Where this came from was back in the day with the good old clapper machine, the little clipboard. It was the way with the audio sampling rates at the time to be able to synchronize the audio and the video based off of that sound occurring and the video, the action. So we've come a long way since then, but there's so much equipment that utilizes the fractional frame rates that it really is an important thing to support.
Some things never change.
Exactly. Classics never die.
That's right. So that's where it came from. And for the past 5 years, PTZOptics has only supported full frame rates, which generally has not been an issue, surprisingly, because so many of the software systems that we work with, Wirecast, vMix, XSplit, even most TriCasters, although I will say not all TriCasters, right, Matt? I mean, this is actually bringing us support for the popular new tech TriCasters.
Yeah, that was one of the first systems we were able to test with. And boy, were we excited when we saw that SDI signal start flowing through.
I bet.
So just in case someone's just listening to the podcast and missed the show, it's the SDI models only.
Yeah, so it's the Gen 2 SDI models, and they must be PoE.
Got it. Gen 2, so that could be a 12X, could be a 20X, could be a 30X, could be an NDI model.
Correct. SDI or NDI models are both applicable for this update.
This will help out with the trolls a little bit because our slogan is broadcast quality made affordable.
Yeah, that was an issue. It'd be like broadcast quality, but you don't have broadcast frame rates.
So there.
Yeah. So
depends on the region you come from, whether or not we had broadcast frame rates.
Heck yeah.
We have 25 and 50.
Yeah. Thank goodness. So you saved us there, Matt. The trolls were starting to get to Tess a little bit.
They'll never get to me. No.
So I know there's a lot of things, Matt, that you work on that you can't talk about.
Unfortunately.
It's so cool.
Sometimes it seems like the majority of the things that you do are like under wraps. So don't feel pressure at all to talk about anything that you can't talk about. So it's hard for me to like interview Matt because I don't want to. It's like there might have been something that
Like
you
a member
told
of the
me.
CIA.
Don't worry.
Maybe I can't talk about.
As long as you're vague in your request, I'll talk about it if it's applicable.
Okay.
Hold on. It goes like, let's talk about the thing that I know that you know, that you know about that thing.
Exactly.
So that's kind of the space that we're in a lot of the times. It's like, are we allowed to talk about this? So there's been some new firmware updates to the cameras. The broadcast frame rates aren't the only thing in there.
No, they're not. So you're going to have to go through the pain one more time of losing your presets as you do this firmware update. But I promise you, with our new upgrade tool version 2.8 and this latest firmware, presets will be part of your backup file moving forward. So no more having to rebuild those presets just because you want to gain a new feature.
Excellent. If we're willing to take a couple questions here, Mike is saying, is ease in and ease out on preset positions, PTZ, anything in the works?
It's something that we've looked at. It is substantially more complicated than you might imagine to achieve through algorithms alone. So yes, we're looking at it. No, I have no timeline or anything I can give you on that.
The one thing I will say that was requested for a long time, although we've had it for a year, is the speed between presets is adjustable. And that actually works on the app as well. So you have the ability to slow down the position of the cameras in between presets. But the ease in and ease out is something that maybe we'll figure out a way to do that one day with maybe a third-party program or some software. We know we get the requests a lot.
4 years later, we got broadcast frame rates. I mean, if there's nothing else, we keep hammering away at the problem.
Kevin's asking about the possibility in the future for non-POA G2 camera PTZOptics cameras.
It is something that we are looking at. Yet again, we're having
One
to
step
take
at a
this.
time.
Yeah, we're taking this one step at a time. But yes, I'm hoping to be able to bring it to the entire Zcam and G2 line, but I cannot make any promises at this moment.
Richard's asking about his NDI cameras. Basically, only if you were to use the SDI out.
Yes, that's correct. It's only for the SDI output currently.
Jim wants to know about a 4K camera.
Yeah, we get that question like every show.
I could give you answers, but I'm really not going to, because you're just going to have to wait for this exciting news that's going to come at some point in the near future.
Will this decrease latency?
Ooh.
No, you should see no noticeable differences in latency compared to what you've seen prior. Now, if you're talking about the SDI output,
okay.
If you're talking about NDI, I can say there's going to be a lot of improvements coming that's going to lower latency, but it's from new tech side.
Oh, that's good. That's nice to hear. Because, yeah, we get that. Tess was getting that question today. They were like, well, here's a question that is kind of just came from Facebook today. They have an SDI camera already, not from a different camera manufacturer, not sure who. And then they want to add an NDI camera. And their question is, like they would feel like if they use the SDI off of our NDI cameras, as an option, would it make more sense to have, even if it's two different camera manufacturers, to both use SDI? Or is the latency of NDI such that it equals SDI?
Because we don't know what the latency is on their current camera, we can't really say. There's some cameras with, 500 milliseconds plus of latency, but that's because they've been designed to do certain things a lot, or either designed to do it, or just it's a very inexpensive camera sometimes.
Very circumstantial.
Yeah. So every camera is different.
Brands.
Yeah. Every brand's different. Different models can be different, and even in the model set, variations occur in manufacturing that you'll see some variation in the output. Unless you're reaching those, $8,000 and up cameras,
but even I hear with like the red cameras, they'll make sure that like all 4 serial numbers are like sequential.
Exactly.
Wow.
So best practice is to have the same camera models, same lenses, even purchased at the same time if possible.
Yeah, definitely.
I know that's not always possible. I know people are mixing and matching cameras. That's why like with what vMix did. I still come back to that color correction sometimes, and I'm like, that's almost as big a deal as PTZ control if
Mhm.
not maybe bigger of a deal.
Oh yeah.
Constantly use it.
Because so
every day.
many people are mix and matching cameras in different, manufacturers and models and lenses, and they're never all going to look exactly the same.
Nope.
But with professional color matching tools, you can actually get stuff that looks quite different to look almost the same.
Yeah. It's amazing the tool sets that it used to be ridiculously expensive and very difficult to operate that, is being brought to all of us today. Things that I certainly could never have played with in the past. It's amazing, these tool sets that allow us to be a lot more professional in these live streams.
Yeah, we certainly use the color correction like nobody's business. In fact, it's funny, we used the vMix color correction quite a bit to color match stuff, but it wasn't until like this week that we were like, well, let's use the vector scope.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the waveform monitor. I don't know if you've seen this, but you can just like with a click of a button be looking at it.
Oh yeah.
And you can see if you're clipping the blacks, clipping the whites, looking at color, looking at luminance, and then it's gone. So it's really quite incredible. We've been using that quite a bit.
Couple more questions here. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Chris Sabato is asking us about pan, tilt, zoom at the same time during preset changes. Not sure if you're referring to the new joystick.
Yeah, we might. I mean, if you're referring to the joystick, yes, you can do PTZ control at the same time now. If you're talking about between presets, that's something called trisynchronous motion, and is not something that we currently offer.
Question coming in from Almanacs. What if any PTZ models could be used as a close-to-rink follow robotic camera for ice hockey? Very cool use. The speed seems to be there when moving between presets, but how about in free-range joystick control? What do you think, guys?
Yeah, I mean, you can achieve some very, very fast speeds with our cameras if you set them to their maximum speeds and you go to pan, you will see that head just whip around.
Yeah, I think the point there is that you can change the speed
Yeah.
in which you'd like to pan.
Actually,
until...
I can even give you an example on that that should put your mind at ease, and that's that we've had people use this for professional drone racing. So to me, if
What?
you can
I never knew
follow,
that.
yeah, so if you can follow one of those professional racing drones around with our camera, I don't think following a hockey puck is going to be a problem.
Interesting.
I had a thought that I wanted to run by you, Matt, about the new PTZ app. So you can upload a panoramic image. You can upload any image, right? So I was sort of starting to think, like, imagine if like there was a mountain and there was someone snowboarding down the mountain. Now, of course, you could just use your joystick and follow them, and that would probably be ideal. But what if you had a picture of the mountain and it 5 checkpoints, and you just clicked where the person was on the mountain, and the camera would just go to it?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you'd have to have if you're doing a mountain, you need a ridiculous zoom lens. But yeah. I mean, that's something that I don't see why it couldn't be done.
Yes, because I'm thinking like for an ice hockey rink, if you had a picture of a panoramic image of the ice hockey rink, and you had and I think that there's a couple of things here to be realistic about like live sports. I think that there's something to be said for a real camera operator, like a real person behind a camera operator who can predict where things are going, and that's his only job, and his whole brain power is to follow the puck, right? You might want to have one person like that. But then for your PTZ shots, like the way I would use it is I'd have one at center court on both sides. Now, of course, with live sports, there's a rule that you're only supposed to film from one side of a field, so you choose the side, which must really stink for hockey, because aren't the teams on either side, or are they on the same side? They're on the same side, aren't they?
What do you
Yeah,
mean?
they
The
are.
two teams.
Yeah, they are.
Because what I'm wondering, because they are on the same
Yeah,
side.
and the penalty box in between.
Are in between, and then you can kind of see each other in between. So the
Well,
guy,
I thought though that you could have that had to do with camera operators, so that you could have static cameras on the other side. But
Okay.
that I could be
Interesting.
mistaken, but I'm.
Static-
I'm,
yeah,
I'm
you
trying
can-
to trying to pull my memory banks
can
here and
definitely
remember
have-
last time it was at a hockey game.
I think that you can have static cameras
I
on the
think
other
you
side
can.
of the field. Because what I'm thinking for the PTZs are, again, with this panoramic image, if it were me, I would have like a preset on goal 1, preset on goal 2, preset on coach 1, preset on coach 2, preset on goal box 1, preset on goal box, or what is it, penalty box 1, penalty box 2, and now you've got one camera covering 6 locations at a click of a button whenever you need it. You can have that preset speed set to super fast, so within 1 second, It's zoomed in focus, ready to cut. That's where PTZs come into play. Like it's very difficult to be a joystick operator and following a puck, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can,
Well,
but
and if
is
you're
that-
trying to accomplish that, one of the things I'll remind people that our cameras are capable of, at least for the first 9 presets, if you have your camera in manual focus and you save a preset in that manual focus state, it will save the focus state with the preset.
Mhm.
So you can make
Forgot
sure
about
that you're
that.
getting your exact right shot when it hits that, not letting the autofocus take
I
over.
forgot about that. Now that's not the focus lock. That is just the actual preset itself.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you save the preset, it can't be in autofocus mode.
Correct, or else it'll just go back to autofocus. But if you're in manual focus, when you set the preset, that's what it's going to be trying to hit.
Some sports streamers are chiming in here. Jim says it's called the 180 rule. Christopher says you want the cameras on the same side so the viewer doesn't get confused at which direction the game is going.
Yes.
Camera Kid says old folks call it breaking access. Also 180 rule.
Yeah, so there's the 180 rule, and I think the only time that you can break that rule is if it's like a static shot that doesn't displace the viewers like of where they are. Like if you may need to film from the other side to capture, but it just depends. It just depends. But I think if you have a static shot from the other side, as long as it's showing the coach and it's not disorienting where the field is.
Well, there's all the ceiling cams now, all the fly cams.
Fly cams,
replay cams.
Yeah.
On the other side to get the angles. and
Exactly.
stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But by the way, on the note of sports, one of the things I think is so incredible with sports broadcast is the use of stingers. They only use stingers when they're going to go into replay or a commercial break. So when you see a stinger, okay, it's not live. It's like a non-verbal production tool to go, all right, when you see this, we're cutting to either stats of the sports game, a replay, or a commercial break. And it's the producer's way to just be like, hey, we're cutting to something that is not live. So stingers are great for that.
Yeah, visual indicators are always great.
Yeah.
So the audience has been great today, dropping us through some really great comments. The other thing I wanted to mention is the other stuff that's been just rolling out recently. So Matt and his team has developed something called a JSON NDI generator or editor.
Yeah. So we're calling it a generator.
Okay.
Essentially, if you have a network and you're using NDI, or you have our cameras and your upgrade tools not finding your cameras, you've got something called an MDNS issue going on. Prevents discovery. So for NDI, we are able to solve this by making static entries, much like a static IP, but it's made within the NDI world. So we've made a tool that will allow you to make static entries for your cameras. It's a way that you don't need to discover it.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of it. Just to kind of break it down a little more from my experience is that you run it in a web browser and you upload and correct me if I'm wrong, every computer has a JSON file on it that's using NDI and has the tools installed.
Yes, currently that is accurate.
So whether you know it or not, there's a JSON file keeping track of all of your NDI information, yet there are no static entries generally made to this file. So it just basically is looking for them on your network, and if your network is having issues automatically discovering NDI, which I've talked to so many people who are like, I see it and then I don't see it, and I see this, and from the beginning, forever with NDI, that's been my gripe. It's been like, yeah, it's great, but it's usually there, and I needed it and it wasn't there. It happened.
Yeah, so it's no fault of NDI. It's really a fault of your own network at that point.
Yeah, our network finally, and you're a network engineer, a lot of people using NDI are using it because they were told this is super easy. You just plug it in. It's going to be Ethernet. Any switch will work. And yes, any switch will work, but they don't read the fine details of MBNS needs to be enabled and all the other things.
And really, they are accurate. If you're using one switch, you shouldn't have any problems.
Oh,
it's as soon as you get 2 switches,
okay,
the problem will arise.
I see. And so, and of course, because I was talking to a school who thought that they could plug in a PTZOptics NDI camera on one side of their campus, and then in the broadcast club, open it up on Wirecast, and it worked. And then the guy next to him was like, well, it's not coming up on my computer. So like, it's that kind of thing. Anyway, that has been solved with this, because assuming that you have static IP addresses for your NDI cameras, this tool allows you to make static NDI entries in, and not only that, but also create friendly names, which I think is so great. And Mike and I were like, wow, this is great. We released the video yesterday for those of you folks that want to go on our YouTube channel and learn more. But Mike and I were like, you know what? Let's produce one more video that just steps back for a second here and talks about how do we, if we do have lots of NDI cameras or PTZOptics cameras in general, how do we organize the IP addresses so that they're sequential, so that they make sense, so that we can have multicast addresses enabled as well, and we can manage our friendly names, so that when you do have a lot of NDI cameras on your network and you open up Wirecast, every camera, that doesn't just say, PT12X SDI, it says Auditorium A, West 12X, like shows place. And then Matt, one of the things I saw from your documentation, which we put into the video, was the ability to have NDI groups, which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah. So I should say, this tool is really meant to be used as a Band-Aid. Ideally you want to fix your network so that everything else works properly on it. We do have documents out there on Ubiquiti and TP-Link at the moment, getting you set up, getting them working with MDNS, multicast. So this tool, or yet again, there's also the NDI Access Manager we can't forget about. We just had enough clients that were confused by the NDI Access Manager. We just wanted to make something even simpler for them. Now that all that fun stuff being said, yes, you can do groups. So one of the neat things you can do, and we kind of define it in there, is if you use parentheses, you could have something like Paul was saying, where it's auditorium, and then once you click on auditorium, there's a subset of cameras. So it could be, camera left, camera right, camera center, and it makes it really easy to know exactly what you're working on.
Now, to dovetail that conversation into what the project that Mike and I have just finished.
Real quick, where are they available on? Where is that?
The JSON editor?
Is it the knowledge base?
Yeah, so there's a couple of spots that you can find this out. And actually, I have to say a big thank you to Cam at our offices, who did
Great job.
Yay, thanks, Cam, for getting this written for all of our clients and end users. So this is available in 3 different locations. There's ptzoptics.com/JSON, JSON. It's also available via the knowledge base, and it is also available in our forums.
Awesome.
We also have videos on it. We have a video on it on our PTZOptics YouTube.
Yep. And that was also shared on Facebook. So we were trying to get the word out. I know that a lot of people have had NDI discovery issues. So in the past 2 or 3 weeks, Matt has really done a lot of, mainly the work. Michael and I have done the production work. Is that Matt has released TP-Link, which is an incredibly affordable network solution. So we've got that out there. How to build an NDI network this is how to set it up right, not just buy a switch and put it on, but set it up so that it will work for you every time with MDNS. And then we've released the JSON editor, and now Mike and I are just releasing basically a get you up to speed, IP addresses, multicast addresses, labeling your cameras, friendly names, all of that. So we've really got, in the past few weeks, really kind of upped our game with the tutorials and knowledge bases and forum articles. The forum's even brand new as of a couple weeks.
Yeah. At the moment, if you go on the forums, you're probably going to reach me for the time being. So take advantage of it while you can.
Yeah. On the knowledge base, you could have got the leaked information about the broadcast frame rates if you were.
Yep.
Yeah, if you really
either there or the
really
forum, you could have had it a day early.
You could have had it 20 hours ago.
So that also brings me to a larger question that I wanted to ask about multicast in general. It's something that is, someone on the Facebook really put it the right way. They said, the dark art of multicast. It feels like, so it's something that's been in our cameras forever. And Matt's laughing at the dark art because
Somebody made Matt laugh.
Maybe because it's funny, but I think it's just interesting that it is so it's such a great thing. It's been built into switches forever. What
Well,
what
so
is
here's
the
the
deal?
thing. When it works, it's the best thing in the world. And when it doesn't, you will pull your hair out because I don't know why it's failing. I just don't know why it's failing. One of my first encounters was I got multicast video working. I went to connect again, and all of a sudden it was black. And I started talking to one of the other engineers, and he's like, "Yeah, that's multicast." And it was like, "Okay, I get it now. It's when it works, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It just multicast. It's more akin to older days of networking. It takes a lot of work, a lot of planning, and even then, you can't be guaranteed it's going to work in the end.
Now, with the tutorials that you've and knowledge-based articles that you have with Ubiquiti equipment, with TP-Link equipment, we are giving people the walkthrough on how to set up a multicast network.
Yes, but as it says in a lot of those articles, this is not a decision to be taken lightly. If you want to use multicast, you just have to know that you really need to be testing ahead of time. So you want to give yourself, 2 to 3 hours before an event just to be able to, take that sigh of relief that like, yes, it's all working, and have a backup plan. So if you're doing multicast, why not have a unicast feed coming in as well, or at least waiting on deck to be live? You just want to make sure that just plan it out. Be careful.
So just for those folks listening on the podcast who maybe aren't sure what multicast is, so unicast is like a single stream of multimedia, video and audio.
I've got an easy way to describe it.
Okay.
So unicast, we'll talk about content distribution. So we'll talk video. So you can go and sign up for a Netflix DVD rental. All right. And yeah, they still have it. So when 15 people request the same DVD, there's 15 copies of the DVD that go out. Now, when you use multicast, it's more like a TV station. So what's happening is you have one stream going out and everybody can pull from that same stream. You don't have more copies being made, more copies being distributed. Everybody's sharing in the exact same piece of content.
Yeah, that's the best way to think about it. And so the PTZOptics cameras can actually have two unicast streams.
That's correct.
So if you want to pull an NDI stream and then a preview on something, you can do that. But if you wanted to have an NDI stream into your main production software and you wanted to have a camera operator pulling it in over here, and then you wanted to have a full screen over there, and then you wanted 25, 100,000 people to watch the output of your production on their laptops, like in a school, you could do that with multicast. And these are things, and the crazy thing about it is that the way multicast is set up, and this I only know like the theoretical, I don't know exactly how it works, but the theoretically, one multicast stream is just one stream of bandwidth on your network, whereas unicast, even if you were to have like 10 unicast streams, each one would be stacking up more and more bandwidth. Where the great thing about multicast, that's the way that I understand, like in your explanation there, with like one coax cable to your house, you can have 1,000 channels. How's that possible? Coax can only do 3 gigabits of data, even less usually, right?
I'll just say they're
doing some black magic and
these two have totally
modems.
lost me here.
Well, it's capable of a lot more than we currently think.
Well, that's an interesting thought. But regardless, the way that they're pumping that many channels out, it's like, how are you doing? There's no way that they could all be unicast.
No.
It's clearly multicast.
Yeah, and there's some very interesting things. So, if you're talking multicast, one thing to know is that currently via the public internet, that's not possible. Okay? So don't think you're going to be transmitting multicast out to all your viewers over the public internet. This is really a local area network thing.
Mm-hmm. Can we talk about that for just a moment? This is basic stuff, but the local area network thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing what's happened over the past, 3-4 years? Like local area networks have become, with NDI, and there's a few other IP standards, you now can buy a network switch, and it's like a matrix switch if you know how to use it, right?
Yeah. I mean, Yeah, from an AV world. So for anybody who's not familiar, a matrix switch allows you to feed a video signal in one spot and send it out to a bunch of other spots,
It's a little loud.
fun nerdy stuff. But yeah, I must admit, even the first time I saw one way too long ago, it
But
didn't
you don't
make
have to
sense.
say how long ago it was.
Yeah, I'm not going to. It didn't make any
Yet
sense.
they still sell them. And
Oh, yeah.
Crestron's $1 billion company, and they sell matrix switches for $30, $50, $100,000.
Yeah, depending on what you need it to do. And I will say, they use really high-end components, so you do know you're getting something really high quality out of it. But I think there's only so much time before that's no longer applicable.
So, and everyone's been talking about the move to IP. We don't have to take a huge industry approach to this, but it's just kind of mind-boggling with the TP-Link. If you haven't seen it, you got to check out the video that's based on Matt Davis's article on the TP-Link hardware. A $50 network router, a $100 network switch. You can power 8 cameras.
Well, you went with the expensive switch.
Yeah,
we did it with the like $50 switch.
How? Oh, I
That was a nice switch when we
but
set it
I
up.
thought, hey, if we're gonna do this, I want to power 8 cameras. Well, does your switch power 8 cameras too?
Ours powers 4 cameras.
Yours powers 4.
Yeah,
So yours is a 4 and a 4.
Yeah.
And ours can. So yours is I can't remember, but it powers 4 cameras with 8 total ports.
Yes.
Ours powers 8 cameras with a total of 16 ports.
Yes.
And we did just finish testing, I believe, with the 24 port versions. I think it was successful, but don't hold me to that yet.
And speaking of that, because I know you got to go, Matt, but there's one last thing I want to throw out at you, which is the ubiquity side of things. A little bit higher end than TP-Link. So TP-Link for $100, you could have an 8 camera system, 4 PoE ports, router, multicast, just crazy. But you decided to put in a ubiquity network here, and it was so surprising. And I remember, by the way, when one switch worked great, but the second switch was when the multicast didn't want to fly. And I know you had to go through a lot to get all that working. It was pretty funny how quickly I don't know how we had 24 ports or 48 ports.
Yeah, 48 port, I believe.
48 ports in the IT closet right here. We're on our last one. And then we've got another, at least a 24 port in the studio. That's full.
Yeah, it just keeps growing.
And I'm just like, where are all these ports going? But you got every camera, you've got joysticks, we have a sound masking system, every computer, even the Wi-Fi routers
The
are
toilet.
taking them up. Everything's a smart something nowadays. So yeah, and you set the network up, and the only thing I know about the network is that the multicast works. DHCP is reserved for IP addresses over 100, and I'm allowed to touch 60 to 80 with the static addresses.
That's 4 times more than I know.
Yeah, you're not allowed to touch it at all, I think.
Yeah. And when it breaks, Matt just is like, Paul, did you touch it?
You're like,
no, I
maybe,
didn't touch it.
Maybe, just a little bit.
I might have talked to Siri, who's sitting
That's
on
like
top
a Big
of it.
Brother with his collectible Star Wars action figures. It's like, I know you touched it. All right. Well, I think we can end the podcast there.
Yeah.
There's still, of course, more questions coming in from Matt. Poor Matt, but
I mean,
we could have him here all night if we really.
I'm willing to give
minute.
another minute or two.
Okay.
That's about it here.
All right.
All right.
You wanna do
Well,
it
let's cue the podcast. Thanks for listening, everybody.
I wanted to
Alright.
get to this one for Otis. Looks like he had some sort of issue, but he says, should I dedicate my VLAN to my NDI camera and computers to isolate them on our network?
That is recommended. One of the things you need to be aware of when doing that, though, you're going to need to set up what's called a reflector for MDNS so that you can traverse the VLANs for discovery. So that's my only words of wisdom there. But yes, it is typical best practice to isolate the multicast traffic if you can.
All of our networking videos are on PTZOptics YouTube page.
Yeah.
Make sure you
And
check it
the
out and
other
subscribe.
thing, this is a combination of everyone at this table. Matt with bringing the actual knowledge, and Michael and I actually turning it into something tangible. Michael started a new engineering playlist
Very
on
cool.
YouTube. And I really look
Yay.
forward
Where's
to
the
seeing
clapping?
that grow because there's 2 or 3 videos there now.
Yeah.
And that's like, hey, look, if you don't feel technically inclined, go to the setup videos, go to the
Exactly.
how-to videos. But if you do feel technically inclined and you want to do what Matt calls, try at your own risk, dive right in. So Matt, we won't keep you because I know traffic's going to hit pretty heavy in Philadelphia,
Yeah, that is true.
and I don't want to be the
I think we're
person
okay.
keeping you in traffic. So we'll do the giveaway, but we don't need to keep you there for that.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Matt.
was
Thank
so
you,
much
everybody,
fun.
for having me on and
Yeah.
watching.
Thank you.
Yay.
We always get high
Yeah.
numbers
Thanks,
when Matt's
everybody.
around.
Record numbers.
All right, should we do the giveaway?
Yeah,
We
let's
should.
start it.
Let's do
Let's
Start
pull
it.
up the giveaway.
Okay.
Remember, you must be present in the chat and claim your prize live.
Goodbye,
to
everybody.
win. Bye, Matt. Drive
Bye,
safe.
Matt.
See ya.
Thanks.
See. Going in. Select winner. Draw winner. Here we go. All right. Looks like we've got Susanna Rodriguez.
Susanna,
Susanna, are you in the chat?
congratulations.
Yeah,
See, women do watch our show, Tess.
I know. Thank you guys for being our audience and for watching.
A lot of technical things covered on today's show.
Yeah. Highly
Ooh, at the
technical
end
show,
there, I
wasn't it?
was.
Please reach out if you have any questions.
Susanna, are you here?
Melissa, come back on the podcast.
They all love Matt. Of course they
Peak concurrent over 100.
Todd
Really?
says awesome to see
Dang.
the actual engineers on.
Yeah, it's fun to have the engineers on. Everybody likes that. We like it too because we're like all like on our toes a little bit.
It's good. It's a good
Get
learning
the
experience.
extra microphones out.
Yep.
Make sure everything's gonna work.
Brush up on your networking.
I'm preparing right now for the exit shot. You see that? But maybe he went out the back. It's like Batman.
No, he went to the bathroom.
God.
Don't see Susanna. I'm going to redraw.
Okay.
All right. Who's the next winner?
He went to the bathroom, is what he said.
Another lady,
Kate
Polyak Brown.
Brown. Kate
From
Polyak
Florida.
Brown from Florida. Are you in the
two
chat?
women in a row.
Yeah.
Wow. Very happy to hear that.
Kate,
See,
Are you
Melissa,
here?
you're bringing the women. Good job.
We're gonna have to change our Facebook demographics for.
Of me and Tess.
Tony, you can enter at ptzoptics.com/giveaway every week. Of course, it's too late to enter now. But for next
Bye,
time.
Matt.
See ya.
Bye, Matt.
Bye.
Kate, are you here?
Oh, did it. She's like, she had tracking shot.
Yeah.
We're-
Kate
good
from
tracking shot.
Florida.
on the show, we're trying to do a lot more with the tracking. I
Yeah.
love it. And even today, didn't you think that turned out well? With just like
Yeah.
following tests right over, little whiteboarding done. We might even have to have like a whiteboard versus blackboard like session.
See,
Marcos Ainoa.
Marcos,
From
are you in
Spain.
the chat?
please.
Marcos, holla back. I don't know why I said that.
It's Friday.
It's Friday. Friday. Gotta get down on Friday.
Everybody's looking forward to the weekend.
Weekend. And Paul's just like, what?
No comment.
No comment.
But hey, these panels look great.
They look good. What do you guys think? No one said anything.
The one looks a little.
The
crooked.
panels are awesome.
Don't.
We're gonna get some more parallels.
Matt, don't. Nah.
Michael,
It's Mike, not Matt.
you
What's my
just
name?
stopped yourself.
Mike.
It's like
It's my
crap.
name, Melissa.
Mike.
All right,
Ooh, Chris
here
has a good
are the
feeling.
panels here. So putting some on the top, putting some on the bottom.
And please
Oh,
disregard.
they
the
wanted Matt
missing.
to spin for them.
We should have started picking a
He's
winner
a busy
earlier.
man. He's on a time schedule.
We did spin a
don't-
Todd
camera.
Perkins.
You
There's
don't
a
want to be
familiar
the
name.
one who made Matt
Todd, where
Davis
are
late
you?
and stuck in
Oh,
traffic.
yeah.
Oh,
Trust me,
no.
if you guys ever want to see a new feature again, we did the right thing by letting him go early.
And about these panels, please disregard. This is not center with it.
No,
Nobody
it will
noticed
be.
until you said
No
that.
one noticed. We're gonna
Todd
center
know.
it.
Perkins
I
are
noticed.
here.
We're gonna put little. I think we should even put little like things down the side. Even
Yeah.
cut them and
Yeah, that's what I was going to do, but we got to fill the other spaces.
I know.
Last week we spun a free camera. It will happen. It
Todd
can
is
happen around here.
here.
All right.
Woo!
Congratulations, Todd.
Who would you like
Very
to
happy for
spin the
you.
wheel?
Who's gonna spin the wheel? Let us know. Will it be Tess? Will it be Mike? Will it be Paul? Will it be Melissa? Will it be Brian?
We do need an
don't
on-air
know.
light.
We just don't know
No.
who it will be.
I'm
Who's
going to
gonna
want
be-
my highlighter back, Tess.
Oh, is this yours?
Yeah.
Forget
now.
that. You'll never see it again now.
You'll never see it again.
It's fine.
Do we get an answer?
No.
Actually, I think. See, look, I don't like this shot
Who
because
do
look,
you want
can't see
to-
Tess. So I think
It's a great
it's
shot for
such a
me.
good shot. Look, and you got
Your
the,
head's in the way.
you
Yes,
got the
that's what people
PTZ
wanna see.
camera
It's got
right
to be
there.
Paul.
I mean, I like the shot. I just
Paul, it's
don't
you.
know. It's me.
We were supposed to put a camera on the other side too.
We also need a new wheel because that one peg's missing.
It's a good observation, Melissa, but you don't always have to say it out
Yay,
loud.
Jose.
Sorry.
Here we go. Right.
All right, here we
Oh,
go.
Burrito Brian is always an option.
Let's put the laptops down.
He's in the other room.
Down.
All right, here we go. Will it be
Spun
a free camera?
last week? Will it be another free camera?
We'll never see Paul ever again if it is.
I'm literally going to be 100% fired if it's another free camera.
They're just gonna move you to the warehouse.
Oh my gosh.
Gonna move some boxes today.
My God.
I don't even know what to say.
Saw, like,
I guess you have the lucky
Oh.
touch.
you almost got. I saw
Wow.
like the color.
No
went
wonder
from your
they.
face.
Did you see it?
Yeah, you're
I
like,
turned like ghost red or ghost white.
Ghost red.
I
Love
was
those
like
red
a
ghosts.
Ghostbuster.
Yeah.
Oh, Ghostbusting on that
oh
one.
man, that was close, dude. That was really close.
Wow. I mean, I like spinning a free
Yeah.
camera every once in a while, but if it's too much, I know I'm gonna get in trouble.
Congratulations
Woo!
on the app.
Got a
And we'll-
comment saying that missing peg
Oh, the missing
is pushing
Melissa,
them towards.
You gotta fix that quick.
I'll fix the peg. I need like a piece of wood. I'll find it.
Just put something in
Oh
there.
my yeah.
Gosh, Todd was like, ah.
Oh,
So close.
So close.
Now, Todd, go ahead and enter the church giveaway for your church if you go to church.
Are you just assuming that he goes?
I don't want to assume that you go to church.
Great show.
I like to
great
assume
spin.
that everyone goes to
Woo!
church. Okay. All right.
Watch the PTZOptics
Thanks,
camera there,
everybody.
Mike.
That's the show today. Very fun. Very fun. Thank you for watching, everybody.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Great show. Always fun to have. Matt
Todd
on,
says
you
he
know.
needs a camera to use that app, though.
Oh, I know. Just keep entering the giveaway. You'll get a
You
free app
will
with it.
eventually.
You'll get one. Or you'll just break down and support our company and buy one. But
That would be ideal.
and now it's closing time. Slowly
Is that
the
an
lights are
Alan
going
and
off.
Heath?
Mm-mm. See how the lights are
Ashley,
going
it's
off?
Ashley.
One